Earthlings, my name is Laser Ort. I've been asked to speak to you Earthlings about MARS. MARS is the Mortgage Assistance Relief Services rule that came down from your Federal Trade Commission. I am from Mars to speak about Mars. I've just arrived from the UFO Welcome Center in Bowman, and I'm looking for a realtor out there who can help me purchase property in Red Bank. As you may know, I'm from the Red Planet. This Mortgage Assistance Relief Services rule from FTC was created to stop con artists who were going to homeowners that were in danger of losing their homes to foreclosure due to your economic downturn. These rules were to create barriers for these con artists who were conning homeowners. Unfortunately, NAR has been trying to negotiate and carve out an exception for realtors. To date, realtors that engage in short sale negotiations with lenders fall under this MARS rule. Let's go through the MARS rule at ludicrous speed. To help you, we've created a disclosure form. Most of the MARS is basically a disclosure that you'll give to your clients when you get involved in a short sale. SCR has created form SCR 394 short sale MARS disclosure, which is the consumer commercial communications disclosure. You will give this twice during your interaction with your sellers. Number one, before you start negotiating a short payoff on their mortgage, you will give this disclosure. You will also give it a second time when you present their lender's offer to give a short payoff on their short sale. There are 5 SCR forms for short sales on the website, scrrealtors.org or .com. Form 393, 394 that we've discussed, 395, 396, 397, and 398. 398 is imperative that your sellers receive. This is the short sale information form for your sellers. On Form 394, this will be done also in your advertising when you advertise MARS or short sales. Basically, the disclosure says that you may fire your MARS provider, which is whoever is negotiating the short sale. So that's where the confusion comes in. FTC has basically made the disclaimer that says you may fire us at any time for our MARS services, but realtors also provide listing services when they market the home. That listing agreement will still be in effect. So the MARS disclosures: 1, the homeowner can fire the short sale negotiator, the MARS provider, which is the listing brokerage, at any time and not owe anything. 2, the homeowner can reject the short sale payoff offer from the lender servicer. You will have no upfront fees, and if the seller fires you at any time for MARS services, they will not owe you any money. And if the homeowner rejects the bank offer, they will not owe any fees for MARS services. The listing agreement, your listing agreement remains enforceable. The second part of the disclosure is to assure the homeowner that you're not associated or approved by either the government or their lender servicer. So this disclosure that you'll provide says that the homeowner can fire you at any time for MARS services, that the homeowner can reject the bank offer at any time and not owe any money. And the second part of the disclosure is that the brokerage is not approved nor associated with the government or their lender servicer. The other part of the disclosure is that the lender may not approve a short sale. So as you all know, all the problems with short sales, the delays, the complexities. So the disclosure is also that the homeowner may not get their short sale approved even if they go through all this. You also need to tell them to continue making payments. If they do not make payments, they could lose their home to foreclosure, or it could damage their credit rating with the credit reporting agencies. So, in summary, No upfront fees for MARS services for short sale negotiations. You will give Form 394, SCR Form 394, you will give that before you start negotiating any short sales, before you start talking to the loss mitigator about reducing the payoff. Remember, a short sale is a sale of a home where it's upside down or the liens exceed the proceeds to do a closing, and the owner has a hardship and cannot bring cash to the table to balance the equation at settlement. So no upfront fees. You'll give Form 394 to the seller before you start negotiating. You will also give it to them once you bring the offer from the bank for their short sale payoff. The other time that MARS applies is in advertising, either oral advertising or written advertising, such as on your internet or print media or television or radio. You will give these same disclosures. One, you will not owe us anything for short sales fees if the owner fires you or the loan does not go through. And two, they need to basically keep making their payments or face foreclosure or damaging their credit rating. Right now, NAR has been working with FTC. Back about a year ago, NAR wrote FTC trying to get an exemption carved out for realtors. The FTC said that we understand that realtors engage in marketing homes, handling homes. These are not MARS services. However, once the realtor goes outside that box and does a short sale negotiating with a lien holder, it does fall under MARS rules. So any realtor in South Carolina that does MARS will probably fall, and does short sales in South Carolina will probably fall under the MARS rules. NAR continues to negotiate with FTC to try to carve out an exception, because realtors really are more engaged in the buying and selling, and they really weren't involved. All of the 30 prosecutions by the FTC have been against basically con artists that would basically advertise heavily on television, get desperate homeowners to send them thousands of dollars, then do nothing. The homeowner would lose their property in foreclosure. Very sad story. So the FTC set up these rules to block that. These rules can be, you can read the rules on the NAR website or the FTC website. It's Code of Federal Regulations, Title 16, Section 322 and following. The Charleston Association has been working with the NAR to try to find out some clarity in some of the informal communication between Charleston and NAR. At this time, the disclosure not a high risk for realtors, but better safe than sorry. Go ahead and get these disclosures filled out. Get the SCR Form 394 filled out once you have initial contact with your potential short sale seller, and second, once the bank provides the offer back to the short sale owner. So, in summary, we've got FDC rule, MARS, Mortgage Assistance Relief Services. Who will this impact? You, if you do short sales as a listing brokerage. You should use SCR Form 398, which is the seller's disclosure, our seller's information pamphlet on short sales, and SCR Form 394, which is based on the NAR model disclosure form. And remember what it does. It basically states that, one, that if you're doing MARS, it will state how much you pay, either an amount or how to calculate this amount. And it basically tells the homeowner that, hey, the homeowner can basically fire the realtor at any time. And then once they fire them, they owe no money. Or if they reject the lien holder's offer of a short payoff, if it's not to their liking, they can fire you and not owe you for MARS services. You will still have your listing agreement, and you still can collect under that. That would still be enforceable. The other thing the disclosure says that, one, you're not associated with the government, and you're not approved or associated with their lien holder, their servicer, or their lender. And also that you've got to remind them to keep making their payments, or they could lose their home in foreclosure or damage their credit rating. So remember, in short sales, you always want to tell the seller to keep making their payments, start making arrangements for a place to live once they move out of the property, and that they need to talk to their tax advisor and their lawyer about alternatives to short sales, whether that be deed in lieu, forbearance, loan restructuring, any of the other refinance, any of their options that may be available to them. They'll talk to their tax advisor because that forgiven debt may be taxable by IRS. There are some exemptions to it in some cases where it will apply, so they'll need to talk to their tax advisor to find out. Otherwise, they may receive a 1099 from their lender for the forgiven debt, and IRS may come after them for the taxes due on that. Do we have any questions? All right, we'll talk about some merchandising then. Remember that you can learn more about MARS by going to realtor.org. There you can read the model disclosure from NAR. You can read the letter that NAR sent on March 10th to the FTC. You can go to the FTC website, search for MARS, M-A-R-S. And penalties, that may be a good question. Right now, what the FTC does, and the rules do, is that the FTC allows the state attorney generals to pursue civil actions against violators that did not use Form 394 and make the disclosures. Penalties could be as high as $11,000 per day of non-compliance. So a heavy penalty, but that complaint, the homeowner just doesn't write the complaint. The state attorney general basically has to decide to prosecute. So probably a fairly low risk for realtors, but why chance it? Use SCR Form 394 when you're doing short sales as a listing brokerage.
Byron, we do have one question from Vanessa. She says on Form 394, how are we to state an amount they would owe?
I think that's an excellent question. The question is, on 394, when it talks about, there's a blank on here where you can put the amount owed for MARS-related services. Keep in mind, this is not the same as their listing commission. And many times, listing brokerages don't charge any fees for MARS-related services. Their commission is all in one, the regular way they do commissions. So remember, no upfront fees. Do not pay upfront fees. So this blank where the amount is, if you were to charge for MARS services in addition to your commission, you would basically have an agreement that stated what you were going to do for the MARS, the payment, and what that amount would be. It could either be a percentage or a dollar amount. In this form that you could access via zip forms or through the SCR website has a blank where you could print it out, fill it out by pen and ink. So in many cases, you might even put a zero there. If you're just doing MARS as ancillary work to your commission, you could just put a zero there if you wanted to, or you could put an amount. One of the questions that came up was, if I put a zero here, does MARS even apply? If you're negotiating with the lien holder, the servicer, be safe. Go ahead, complete the form. The FTC rules do not make an exemption if you're doing it basically for no commission or no charge. So that's not a way to get around the MARS rules. Best thing is safe than sorry. Do the form. And for that blank on here for the amount in the first paragraph where it has important notice, and then there's a blank, you could put in the dollar amount, or you could write in, percentage amount, however you wanted to. Or if you're just getting your commission and not doing anything extra for your MARS work, you could just put a zero there. The other question is, what about when we're working with buyers? What you want to do there is you want to use the SCR form that basically explains to buyers what a short sale is. For a buyer, for a short sale, the main issues are you're getting a good deal. You're getting a price that's probably below market. The downside is obviously the delays, the earth banks are understaffed and overworked with the volume. So just for buyers, you'll give them this disclosure from the SCR form. They'll sign it, basically saying, I understand I may be getting a deal, but it's not guaranteed I'm getting a deal. That this deal is contingent upon the lien holder giving a short payoff to the seller so they can make the sale. And it may not happen. So if the lien holder refuses to make the short payoff, or there's other liens that come up, you may never get closure on the thing. But for the buyers and buyer agent, the main is is just patience, because it's going to take time as a short sale works through the process. The main workload, keep in mind on a short sale, the main workload is on the listing brokerage, not on the buyer brokerage. Any other earthling questions?
It looks like Susan has a question. She can answer that.
All right, so this summarizes. MARS, Mortgage Assistance Relief Services, MARS, same as My Home Planet. Created by the FTC to stop criminals, not realtors. It was designed to catch the con artists out there that were taking advantage of homeowners that had a job loss, major surgery, a divorce, a death in the family, had financial struggles, and were facing losing their home. Desperate, they may turn to a con artist who says, pay me $2,000 and I'll completely get your credit restored, get the house sold, no problem. They would pay the money, the con artists would disappear with the money, people would lose their homes. So the FTC decided to do something. The federal government intervened. The FTC created MARS, Mortgage Assistance Relief Services rules. It's in the Code of Federal Regulations. Even though it's not aimed at realtors, and FTC recognized that realtors, when they're buying and selling homes for clients, really aren't conducting mortgage assistance relief services. However, once the realtor picks up the phone and starts talking to the loss mitigator, then you're in MARS and all the disclosures are triggered. So you would use Form SCR 394 for disclosures. And then you would be covered. And remember, the penalties could be up to $11,000 per day non-compliance. And in summary, the SCR 394 is also something you're going to do in your advertising if you advertise as a MARS provider. And keep in mind, if you work in Georgia at all, Georgia's made it illegal for realtors to engage in short sale negotiations. So all Georgia work will be done through a lawyer or a licensed person to handle the short sale negotiation. South Carolina, it's still legal for realtors to pick up the phone, talk to the loss mitigator, work out some sort of, submit the offers, discuss the offers with the loss mitigator, try to get a short payoff so that the short sale can close. So you're going to make your advertisements, if you're advertising yourself as a short sale specialist or a negotiator of some sort, be careful not to practice law when you're doing that. But if you're doing that, you also make in your radio ads, your TV ads, your web ads, your print ads, you'll make these disclosures that, I'm not associated with the government, I'm not approved by the government or your lender, I make no guarantee that we'll get this short sale to work out, and that you need to keep making your payments. You could lose your home to foreclosure or damage your credit rating, and that you can fire me at any time if you don't accept the bank's offer, or you don't like my services. You can fire me for my MARS work, my short sale negotiation work, and walk away and not owe me nothing, no upfront fees. Remember this form, SCR Form 394, you'll give it to your sellers before you begin negotiating with their lien holder, their loss mitigator, their servicer company. And also you're going to provide another form just like it, another Form 394, once the bank sends their offer to the seller. Basically, you would explain to the seller, they've reduced your payoff from your balance to a lesser amount, and you've been wanting to talk to your attorney and financial advisor about taxes and other alternatives to short sales. And Form 394 basically says you can fire us at any time, you can reject the bank offer, wash your hands of it, and owe us nothing for our MARS fee. However, our listing agreement may still be enforceable, and you may still owe us money under that. Also, I'm not associated with the government. I'm not associated or approved by the government or your lender. And the lender may not approve the short sale. We may do all this, and it doesn't work out. Then you'll have to find other alternatives. And also keep making your payments, or you could lose your home in foreclosure or damage your credit rating. So remember, no upfront fees for MARS work, for short sale work. Is there a question?
Yep, sorry. Margaret Murray says, if you're already in short sale negotiation, should you use?
Yes, that's what I would recommend. Better safe than sorry. The question was, somebody that's just hearing about MARS, even though MARS went into effect technically at the beginning of the year, Really have been no enforcements on it, but better safe than sorry. If you've got time, go to the website, go to Zip Forms, print off Form 394, get your seller to sign that, and then also when the offer comes in, you'll have them sign it again. And remember, you can go to our website, you can get our legal feed, you can get a legal information from the realtor.org, the NAR website. And remember to use your Zip Forms. You've got free Zip Forms included in your dues now, so use that. You'll have access to this form. Zip Forms has a transaction management package and a mobile app for your smartphone that you can utilize with these forms.
Byron, Randy Privet is asking you.
The question, do all short sales have to go through Mars? Mars, I think a simple answer would be yes, that any short sale, the people that are engaging in talking to the lien holder, the servicer, the bank, they're basically under Mars, unless the seller was doing it themselves, which is kind of uncommon. So anybody, a lawyer or a listing brokerage or a company that does short sale negotiations would all fall under that the Mars rule. Also, another aspect of Mars in Georgia, the realtors don't deal with short sales negotiations, but they do sometimes arrange the seller to meet up with somebody that does provide these services. That also pulls the realtor under Mars. So even in Georgia, even though they're not allowed by law to engage in short sale negotiations, if they set up the seller with the short sale negotiator, then the realtor is under Mars even in Georgia. So better safe than sorry. Use SCR Form 394. Get the seller to sign that before any negotiations start, and also when the bank brings their offer to them. If you have any questions, you can contact Earthling Byron King, who is your general counsel at SCR. The phone number there is 1-800, what's our number? 233-6381. Email is byron@screaltors.org. And we can get answers for you if you have other questions. As we discussed, this is an ongoing issue. NAR continues to try to get some sort of exemption for you realtors using some of the arguments that, you know, this is really targeted at con artists and criminals. The realtors were never part of the complaint that initiated this. And as we talked about, Charleston's been in communication with NAR. And NAR seems optimistic that they can get some sort of relief for realtors so that it's not another piece of paper that you have to keep up with. But this time, safe answer, use SCR Form 394 and give it to the seller before you start negotiating and once that bank offer comes in. If you're advertising any type of short sales, go ahead, put the the warnings into the advertisement or on your website. It'll have in bold, important notice, 2 font pitches higher than the rest of the 2 disclaimers. The disclaimers basically saying that you can fire whoever's negotiating the short sale for you and owe nothing, and that if you reject the bank offer, you could also basically owe nothing, and that you are not, the negotiator is not associated or approved by the lender or the government. And that the lender may not approve a short sale. You may just be, it may not work out for you. So keep making your payments, or you could lose your home to foreclosure or damage your credit rating. Main thing, no upfront fees. So make sure you're not collecting any upfront fees. You're making the disclosures, and you should be fine from ours. Just keep reading the SCR weekly updates. We'll keep you updated on any developments in Mars. Keep up with NAR on their website, realtor.org, and you can get information. You can see the letter that NAR sent to FTC March 2010. Any other new questions coming in? That's about all the issues that I have for you right now. Remember to have a safe Easter, live long and prosper, Nanu Nanu, and use SCR Form 394. Anything else we need to do for merchandising for SCR? Any events coming up, staff? I'd like to thank Sharon DeLea and Mike Christ for all they've done getting these forms up and running. Their work on the website, their work on these webinars. You can remind your colleagues that these webinars are recorded. Hopefully this one will not be recorded and be destroyed, but you can view it at your leisure. Staff, any other comments before we sign off? Any new questions? Live long, prosper. Nanu, nanu.
Byron, can I borrow your mask? Drew is asking.
Yes, Drew, you can borrow my mask.